name is Sister Patricia Edward, and I'm from New Bedford, Massachusetts. Well, I had sisters in Catholic school, and that's what got me thinking about it. And I just felt in second grade that God let me know that this was what I was supposed to do. But actually, I wanted to be a teaching sister, and so, in seventh grade, I had to switch schools because our school had closed, and I went to another Catholic school and met a friend, Denise, who told me that she wanted to be a sister too, and it was kind of unique, because up to that point I wasn't really telling my friends about it because they would think it was a kind of a dumb idea. So we decided when we were in 7th and 8th grade that we would start writing to sisters, asking for information, because back in those days, there was no internet, so you had to do everything, by letter. So we never told them how old we were, and different congregations started to write back and invite us to visit, which of course we couldn't because we hadn't told our parents either. So she called me, it was on her birthday, she called me, I was having lunch, and she said, oh, the Daughters of St. Paul just called me and they said they would like to come down and visit. And I said, I'm not even interested in them. I said, I didn't want to make books all my life, and why did you tell them about me? And she said, because, I don't want to do this by myself, and what should we do? So I said, she goes, they can't come to my house. I said, well, they can't come to my house either. So I said, all right, if they really want to see us, they have to meet us in the park. So there was a city park like halfway between our two houses and right across the street from the parochial school and parish where we went, right? But it was a Saturday, so we're hoping that none of the kids would be around to see this, right? So we told them to meet us in the park, and we didn't tell them, like the park is like blocks long. We didn't tell them which street to come to or anything. We realized that after we hung up, right? And this was like in 1971, I think, or 1970 maybe. So then we realized we don't even know what they're going to look like. We don't know what kind of car they're driving. So I said, well, usually in those days, nuns always had station wagons. So I said, let's look for a station wagon. So we both had our bikes, and we're like looking out. There's like a duck pond there, and there were benches around the duck pond, and we said, well, this will be the good place. We'll sit at the duck pond, right? So it was like one of the main entrances, and we're sitting at the duck pond, like kind of looking at all the cars going by, and we saw this black station wagon kind of like slow down. So I said, and she wore glasses at that time, I didn't, and my eyes were a little better. I said, I think those are nuns. She goes, yeah, you think so? So we got up and we started like walking really slowly with our bikes towards the car, and they got out and we saw they were nuns, because we didn't even know if they still had a habit at that point or anything, but they did. So they came, they're two young nuns, and then it started to like drizzle, and we were sitting on the park bench in the rain, 2 nuns, one on each side, our bikes there and everything in the rain, and it was Sister Sharon Ann, and she said, oh, don't worry about it, we're not going to melt. So we said, okay. So we just sat in the rain and asked them questions. They told us, all about it, and invited us to come to Boston, but of course we were like 13 years old. We had no way to get to Boston without telling our parents, and we still didn't want to do that yet. So it took a couple of months before I finally broke down and told my parents, and they did drive us up there. And Denise entered 3 years before I did. I like the idea of always living like really close to the Blessed Sacrament, and like being more, I don't know, in touch with Jesus. I hope so, after all these years anyway, that I've somehow, learned to pray more and learn more about the spiritual life than I would have done otherwise, and that through the different apostolates I've been given to do, I've somehow been able to draw other people closer to Jesus too. The first time I came to visit, it was like, I just knew like this was the right place. I just felt like it was a big family. The sisters were happy, and I felt I really belonged here. And they started to explain to me, because I told them I'd like to be a teacher, but they said, you can still be a teacher here, because we teach, but through our books. You might not have a classroom, but you might reach a lot more people. You'll be kind of anonymous, but that's part of our apostolate too. We're kind of in the background, and maybe, like I've written some children's books. I was children's editor for many years, and so I think in that way I have been a teacher, because I see now, I'm working in shipping now, and I'm shipping out the books that come in, the orders that come in, and I see some of those little lives of the saints that I've written or whatever, or helped to write, go out to people. So they're reaching children now, so that's sort of like, teaching in a different way. Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, like really pray and try to listen to what God is telling you. And, you know, for sure there's like a lot of obstacles that will come up and everything, but like just don't be afraid. Just keep pursuing it, because if it's really true and it's really a vocation, the feeling is not going to go away, and you'll just feel like no matter what happens, you have to go ahead with it. And I think it's a lot easier now, but maybe in some ways more complicated too for young people today, because you have everything on the internet. You can go scroll through all these, you know, web pages, Facebook, whatever, and find out a lot of information that way. For us, it was so much harder. We had to, you know, just write letters or come visit in person, and so
sit in the rain with nuns.
Sit in the rain. That's right. But I think, you know, it's good in a way to have more of this information, but it could be kind of like overwhelming, because we were really like limited in you know, the sisters we could visit or write to or whatever. But I think the whole idea is once you do, like you establish some contact, it's really important to visit, because that's when you can really get the feeling that this is for you or it's not for you, you know, the congregation, I mean, whether it's a fit or not. You really have to visit in person.